Let's shift our attention to the IndiGo crisis that continues. Amidst this, CNN News 18 has spoken to the IndiGo pilot who claims that the recent wave of cancellations was deliberately planned to create an impression that new flight duty time limitation norms were causing these operational disruptions. The pilot has alleged that despite having special DGCA clearance on the 1st of November, the airline cancelled flights to build fake data and put pressure on the regulator. According to the pilots, crew members were ready to operate flights, but the airline had refused. It's a sensational claim that's now being made by one of the IndiGo pilots. Let's listen in first up.
My first question to you is, as an integral part of this airline, a person who has been working for years with the airline as a pilot and so integral to its operations, can you please tell us why did this thing in the first place occur?
We will have to go back to the understanding that IndiGo, being the largest airline operator of the country with 67% shareholding, their arrogance has set in. They have started feeling from last few years that DGCA can be manipulated by them and anything and everything can be get with. When this November implementation happened because of the Honorable High Court, they started taking flight cancellation on purpose, giving and creating a data that we are losing flights, cancelling flights because of FDTL issue. In my personal opinion and in my full calculation and my experience with the airline industry, I can tell it that till November they were making data. In December, they could not control what they started on themselves. This is a chaos that they have created and they could not retract back from it.
So I would like to know from you that FDTL norms came in on 2024 January. When was it communicated to the staff, to pilots, to the cabin crew? And what happened when the deadlines like July 1st and November 1st actually hit the airline?
So we were tracking the FDTL issue because it's a life and death situation for pilots. We were behind the operator, the regulator to give us this respite and give us some lifestyle. Any which ways, it is not just pilots who are requiring this FDTL. It is required because of safety of my passengers and my aircraft. Now, when we go and talk about the implementation, what IndiGo used this FDTL was for their benefit. First, they cancelled all type of contracts, norms, PLs availability, and everything went off. They took away our holidays, our leaves, and brought us and narrowed us down for one single contract in saying that FDTL has to be implemented. 1st July, everything went on. 1st of November, although having special clearance from DGCA, which no other airline had, they started with, again, like I told you, they started taking cancellations to make data and make it arm twist the regulator to get rid of the FDTL. We were communicated about the FDTL because we were tracking it. It depends, our safety, our lifestyle, our health depends on this FDTL. So, thank you.
So can you please clarify, what do you mean when you say that the pilots were available, were not put on rosters? Do you want to hint that this was a deliberate attempt to just wade away from the FDTL norm, just to drive away from the FDTL norms and its compliance and its implementation?
When you say that pilots were available to fly but were not put on rosters, they were not put on duties, are you hinting that this could be a deliberate attempt to not adhere to the FDTL norms?
So we as pilots, we love to fly. So there were instances when pilots themselves offered to operate a flight, but the company straightforwardly ignored, as they wanted to collect data against the new FDTL, which was there to improve flight and passenger safety. That's all I can say about it.
Also, sir, because staff shortage has been in the center of this debate, is there actually a staff shortage? Is IndiGo looking at a staff crunch? And does that need to be fulfilled? Is that the need of the hour?
So shortage, as per company, whenever we have spoken to the company personnel and our team leaders and FS, we have always been told that IndiGo is overstaffed. We are hardly doing any flying. In a month, we don't touch on an average of 50 hours. So, looks like, and they have created that there were no shortage. So, we were excess of staff till November implementation. Going to your next question, that do you think that increase of staff was required? Yes, obviously when I am restricted by the FDTL for a lesser number of landings and also increase in rest period for safety, the landings has to be covered. For that, new crew is required. For covering the rest time, new crew is required. But that is just about 15 to 20% increment of crew. IndiGo as of now is, if we calculate in a justified way, maybe 30-35 pilots short. That's it. They would have easily covered it if they say they are a shortage.
We need to move out of this conversation for just a bit. Go across to Anvit to once again shine the spotlight on the larger picture here. Anvit, these are big claims being made by an IndiGo pilot. We're not disclosing his identity and details here. But tell us what you make of that conversation you've had. The IndiGo pilot seems to be suggesting here very clearly that this was an attempt by the IndiGo Airlines to manipulate the DGCA in the wake of the FDTL norms that were enforced.
Yes, Christian, see, these allegations are grievous in nature, and when we speak to someone like pilot who is so integral to the operations of an airline and who deals with the operations of the airline on daily basis, and these the details coming in from such a person that pilots were not put on rosters, pilots were ready to fly but they were not put on rosters, and also the since the beginning that is being talked about the staff shortage. He's saying that there's not staff shortage of that magnitude that it would have affected operations on this level. So clear hints that there could have been a manipulation from airline towards DGCA, probably an arm twisting, only to steer away from the FDTL implementation and the mandate that came in. It came in pretty early in January 2024. Since then, airlines were not following that mandate. The pilots body had to go to the court, and when the matter went to Delhi High Court, only then DGCA also came out and said that from July 1st we are implementing 15 rules, and then the other ones from November 1st. And like the pilot also opened it out for us that on November 1st when this started happening, then the chaos happened, when all hell broke loose, when flights started to get cancelled. They've also said that the flights were cancelled even prior to this November 1st, only to create a data that there's not enough availability of flights. So to create that data and to later on reflect that, see, there has been a problem that has been persisting for long, that pilots are not available, crew is not available, and hence the flights are not being operated. So entire picture now, when the pilots have come out and spoken to us exclusively, it clears out that this could be an attempt to only steer away from implementation of the FDTL norms and trying to avoid this implementation only for profit and keeping passenger safety and pilot safety behind profits.
Oh yes, that's another part to that conversation. Let's shift our focus back to that conversation then. Anvit, stay on with us. The CNN News 18 exclusive on what this IndiGo pilot suggests. Stunning revelation on how the pilot is of the opinion that IndiGo prioritizes profit over safety. Listen in.
Sir, I would just like to know from you that you have been working with the airline for a long period of time. As an employee of the airline and as a pilot, and having so many passengers stranded and this utter chaos that unfolded in the 4 to 5 days, how do you feel after this has happened?
See, today everybody is abusing or giving their opinion about the airline. This IndiGo has defined aviation, civil aviation in India. What they have done and what they have achieved is commendable. Having said this, let me tell you also, in last few years they have become arrogant. They have stopped thinking that they are working with humans. They have started thinking as if we are all the workers, all the frontline workers, the first phase, pilot, cabin crew, ground staff. They are like computers which they can switch off and switch on at their will. This has gone wrong in last 5 to 6 years, or maybe I'll say 8 years now. That effect has exhausted the workers, that effect has exhausted the frontline warriors. That is the reason IndiGo is also the airline, I think, among top in the world where they are losing trained manpower. They are unable to retain their pilots, cabin crew, ground staff, engineers, and everybody, even people from management, they are leaving. This is not good. IndiGo must revamp themselves, go back to their drawing board and make correct and manage decisions so that they're able to run this airline the way they have been running. We are not against the airline, but yes, the current management has lost their path and they should become little human and leave their arrogance behind.
So when you say this, does it mean that IndiGo, the airline in itself, is about nothing but profit? Has passenger safety and pilot safety been put over, and the profit been put over the safety of passengers?
I think IndiGo has taken granted that civil aviation is a very safe mode of, and it is the safest mode of transportation. Today's modern aircrafts are very, very safe. Almost no error that happens. Only error in the flight deck is left is the human resource. Taking this leverage, IndiGo has planned its operation around maximum profit and required safety. They are not unsafe, but it is bare minimum. So yes, to us it has been taught that if you want 100% safety, keep the aircraft on the ground. If you want 100% profit, it will lead to most unsafe operation. So they have found a very close net where safety is compromised to an extent where the accident or incident is not happening, but it is at the bare minimum. Profits is what the company is running for. So let's keep it very clear. IndiGo means profit.
Thank you so much, sir. Just one last thing. So many passengers were stranded. There were devastating developments in their personal life which were aggravated by this chaos that unfolded. Would you leave us with any message? Would you want to leave them with any message?
With the regulator and the government of India, the request is with the regulator and the government of India, the accountable and responsible people who have brought this chaos, made so many passengers suffered, made the frontline warriors, pilots, cabin crew, ground staff suffer, even beaten up, they should be brought to justice. If this was a planned sabotage, they should be criminally charged. Their accounts should be seized, passports should be seized, and not just penalty to the airline, personal penalties should be imposed on these individuals. They must be brought to justice.